How to retire rich in less than 3 years. Are you still working a job? Are you ready to get out of there? What if I told you I retired as a millionaire in my 30s? Well, it's absolutely true, but more importantly, I'm gonna tell you how you can do it too. Let's go.
Noel. Yeah, she can fix that. If you gotta get it done, all you need to do it better. Well, she can fix that. Yeah, she can fix that. Investment to get back, trying to get a big stack. She can fix that. Let's fix that.
I'm gonna share with you a step-by-step process on how you quit your job. I'm gonna share with you the biggest secret that I learned after I retired so that you can learn how you can do it better than I did. I'm gonna share with you a foolproof plan on how you can make more money in retirement than you ever did when you were working a job. So let's talk about being rich, because that's one of the things that does not have a definition. So when I talk about being rich, what does that really mean? When I say retire rich, does that mean $50,000, $100,000, $5 million, $10 million, $1 million? What does rich really mean? Well, I'm gonna tell you some stats. Being rich doesn't actually have a number. There's no one that you can look up and say, okay, if you make this amount of money or if you have this amount of money, you are rich. There's no fairy that comes around and deems you as rich. It's really gonna have to be what you decide is rich. And for me, that means earning at least $1 million per year. And I don't mean having $1 million, I mean earning $1 million per year, meaning a minimum of $83,333.33 per month. Well, I'm way past that in my career, but when I retired, I wanted to make sure I had at least that amount of money coming in before I ever decided to stop working full time. And I was able to accomplish that. But for you, it may not be that. You may not need $83,000 per month. You may only need $20,000 or $10,000 per month. In fact, I will share a fun fact with you. $20,000 per month, or about $240,000, $250,000 per year, is really the number where you want to be as a minimum. You don't have to make millions of dollars a year to be comfortable. Honestly, if you're making about $20,000 per month tax-free and you don't have to do anything for that money, you're rich in my opinion. You are able to buy whatever house you want. You can have a nice house, $6,000, $7,000 per month. You can have a nice car that's another $2,000, $3,000 a month. And I mean Bentleys. I'm not talking about having, a Toyota. If you want to have a Bentley and you want to have a mansion, you're probably only going to need about $10,000, $15,000 per month coming in. So having $20,000 per month is really comfortable, especially if it's stable and consistent money. If you know you have a minimum of $20,000 coming in per month, I would say that you are retiring rich. So for the purpose of this exercise, we're gonna talk about being able to retire with at least $20,000 per month coming in, stable and consistent. All right, now let's get to the next point. So the first thing that you need to do to retire rich in less than 3 years is to become an entrepreneur. This may sound really, really crazy for some of you that work a job. Like, wait a minute, I can't just start a business and start all over. How am I gonna retire rich? I've been at my company X amount of years, or I'm only X amount of years old, so I couldn't possibly retire. Well, get that idea out of your mind. I literally decided that I wanted to be rich when I was about 30 years old. And by the time that I was 35, I was rich. Literally declared a millionaire when I was 36, and I exited the workforce the very next year. Deuces to a job. And again, you can do the exact same thing too, but it's going to require you creating another stream of income besides your job, because obviously to be retired means you don't want to be doing things in order to get money. So you cannot trade your time for money. That's what working people do. And in fact, there's been sayings that that's what poor people do. Poor people work, rich people think. So let me tell you, you got to start thinking and creating a business that's going to make you some money. And the simple answer is you're going to become an entrepreneur. Let me tell you how you do that. Whoa, I just made a great point about starting a business. What type of business is it that you want to start? I do real estate, Turo, cars, and a lot of other stuff. What type of business do you want to do? Comment below and let me know so we can have a great conversation, and maybe I can give you some tips, some tools, and some advice on how to get that business going really quickly. Okay, now let me get back to this point. The first thing that you want to do is start this plan while you are working. While you have a job, you should definitely be starting your business. This is the easiest way to retire in 3 years or less. When you have a job, you will go ahead and you will start that business. And in fact, I have an entire playlist where I teach you how to start a business from scratch. Make sure you watch that playlist or at least some of the videos where I teach you how to do it, because you can start a business in just one day and get it profitable in less than 30 days. So you want to make sure that you do that. And you do this while you're working so that you have some income. The last thing that you want to do if you want to get rich is just quit your job and have no streams of income. But if you have a job, you can easily start a business. In other words, get an LLC, get an EIN, make a website, make a phone number, and have a business that is set up with the Secretary of State. The next thing that you want to do, of course, is get a business checking account. I can't tell you how many benefits there are to getting a business checking account. Having a business checking account and not a personal checking account will show that you're really a business. And there are lenders that will lend to your business, even if it's a startup with just 3 months worth of business checking account statements. It's absolutely amazing. Companies like National Business Capital, for example, will lend to you and your business, and you do not have to have been in business for 10 or 20 years. Check out the link below if you're interested in doing that. But the main point that you want to know is start this business and get this business checking account going while you have a job. One of the great things that you can do, even if you have a job and you have a paycheck coming in, you can start putting deposits into your business checking account. Did you know that? Absolutely you can. And there are even lenders that will lend to you just based on the deposits to your business checking account. Think about that for a second. Yeah, that's true. And now that you have your business all set up, get going. Start marketing your business, start getting profits to your business. And again, that business checking account will really take you far. These are really simple steps to get your business profitable and start making money while you have a job. If you have a job and you have a business, you essentially have two different entities that can borrow money. Think about that for a second. You as a person can borrow money for your business. You can take your personal social security number. You can get lines of credit. You can get personal loans. That's one way to do it. But a better way to do it is you can use business credit. You can create an entire business credit profile and start getting business credit cards, lines of credit, and loans in your business's name, and this will really fund your business. The number one reason why most businesses are not successful is because they don't have enough capital. So while you have a job and you're thinking about retiring with this business, you can easily procure funds in your business's name and start using that to make you money while you're still working. This will create multiple streams of income, and by the time you're ready to retire in 2 or 3 years, people will literally lend your business millions of dollars, more than you could ever imagine and more than they would ever lend to you as a person. Think about that for a second. Start a business and get business funds, and you will be able to retire rich, guaranteed. And then last but not least, once you're able to replace your income from your job, you need to quit. I know that sounds scary to most people. Like, wait a minute. Yeah, I mean, like, as soon as you are able to replace your income, even if it's just the first month, you have to be able to take your time, your energy, your efforts, and put that into your business. The reason that most businesses fail is because people are working a job and they don't have enough money. But now if you're able to create any type of income, especially enough income to actually replace your income, you gotta pull the trigger and you gotta quit that job. That was probably one of the biggest mistakes that I made. It took me forever to quit my job, and I really thought that, no, I needed this paycheck. But in fact, I was just prolonging the time that I was going to become a millionaire. The year that I quit my job, I quit a 6-figure job making $225,000 per year. I never thought that I was going to be able to make that on my own. But the first year that I quit my job and worked for myself, I made over $400,000 on my own. So even if you just use smaller numbers and you're someone that makes only $40,000 per year, you're probably missing out on $60,000 or $70,000 per year if you would just work for yourself and stop giving your best time, energy, and efforts to somebody else's company. Just saying. So I have created an entire training just for you, and it's absolutely free. Learn my formula on how to invest in real estate with no money and even with bad credit, the same way that I did. Go to noellsfreetraining.com and check this full training out. It's over an hour long, and it was way too much for me to put on YouTube, but again, it's absolutely free for you. It's a full training teaching you step by step on what I did and how to do it too. Go to noellsfreetraining.com. That's Noelle, Noelle with an S, freetraining.com, because I want to make sure that you have all of the resources, all of the tools, and all of the knowledge that you need to be successful. This is Noelle. To your success.